With the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select. I'm Zach Stevens, and we're going to dive into it on my final mock draft. And before we dive in, I want to make sure you know that DNVR Broncos is your home for Denver Broncos NFL draft coverage. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our draft coverage leading up to the draft and our live Broncos-focused draft show on this Thursday, April 24th. We have tons more to come leading up to the draft, but before we go any further, let's dive into my final Broncos mock draft. And with the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Trevion Henderson, running back, Ohio State. The NFL train would say this is a reach for the Broncos to get Henderson here, but Sean Payton doesn't give a damn about what the NFL train says. He drafted Bo Nix with the 12th pick last year when the entire NFL trashed him. How did that work out? Sean Payton won that one, and Sean Payton believes he's going to win this one by getting his next Alvin Kamara with this pick. That's why Sean's not worried about drafting Henderson at 20, because he believes he's getting a player that is just as explosive and as good out of the backfield as Alvin Kamara was with the Saints. Henderson is not only a playmaker, but he can be a three-down back. He's one of the best pass-blocking backs in this draft, so the Broncos get a guy that can pass block, that can be a big-time playmaker, and that can also be a three-down running back. And by the way, he averaged 7.1 yards per carry with Ohio State last year. That's insane. Plus, he has all of the intangibles. He's loved by his teammates, his coaches in the Ohio State program, so he comes in here and fits in the locker room right away. He's the entire package on and off the field, and another joker for Sean Payton. And you can get even more information on our Die Hard draft guide by clicking the link in our description. And we have in-depth draft coverage for not just Trevion Henderson, but for 200 players in our Die Hard draft guide. Make sure to click that link in the description below to get access to it. Oh, and one more thing about Trevion. The Broncos fill their last remaining need before the second round even comes around. Moving on to the second round, and before we even get to pick 51, the Broncos' next pick, there's a trade. We got a trade alert going on because the Broncos have made a trade to move up in the draft. The Broncos trade pick 51 and pick 85. That's their second and third round pick to the Tennessee Titans for pick 35 and a sixth round pick 188. And with the 35th pick in the NFL draft, the Denver Broncos select Walter Nolan, defensive lineman from Ole Miss. The slide is over for Walter. In a very deep defensive line draft class, Walter Nolan falls in this draft to the second round, and Sean Payton and George Payton say, that's enough. We need to make a move to go and get him, and they package their second and third round pick to make a jump up to get a dynamic defensive lineman. The Broncos think that Walter Nolan was arguably a top 10 player in this draft, but just because of the way the draft fell, he falls to the early second round, and now the Broncos pair him with a dangerous defensive line, including Zach Allen, DJ Jones, and John Franklin Meyer. And speaking of John Franklin Meyer, he will start this year for the Broncos with Walter Nolan coming off the bench in a rotation, but then Walter Nolan will take John Franklin Meyer's role after this season as he is on the final year of his deal. And this is the Broncos investing in the trenches, which is something Sean Payton and George Payton love to do. And Walton Nolan is a potential game wrecker here. The Broncos have Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, DJ Jones, and Walter Nolan. This is a pick Justin Herbert hates to see coming. This move is also the final sign that the Broncos are all in on this year by making a trade up in the draft to get a player that's going to help them this year and moving forward. Since the Broncos no longer have a third round pick, we move to the fourth round, day 3, where the Broncos draft Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon, and welcome home, Terrence. After an incredible high school career at Heritage High School in Littleton, Terrence took his talents to Oregon and played with Bo Nix, and now the Broncos welcome him back home. In Terrence's 2 seasons with Bo Nix at Oregon, he racked up over 70 catches, over 800 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And now those two are linked up again. And yes, the Broncos did sign Evan Ingram in free agency, and there's no doubt he's their tight end 1 for the next 2 years. But Terrence Ferguson brings a little bit of a different profile to the Broncos. He's a receiver, he can also block, and he is their development tight end while also being their number 2 tight end right now. So the Broncos don't need this draft pick, but it also helps that Terrence has that chemistry with Bo Nix on the field, and we saw the Broncos go into that well with Troy Franklin last year in the 4th round. Entering this draft, the Broncos did not have a 5th-round pick, but that changes here because we got a trade alert. The Denver Broncos are making a trade to get into the 5th round. They are trading 2 6th-round picks, pick 191 and pick 197, to the New York Jets and their friend, general manager Darren Muge, for pick 162, which is their 5th-round pick. And with that 5th-round pick, the Denver Broncos select Torrey Horton, wide receiver, Colorado State. The Broncos once again make a trade up to get a player that's falling, and Torrey Horton is staying in Colorado with this pick. And Torrey Horton is a fantastic fit for the Broncos and Sean Payton. Torrey Horton is a great route runner, can work in the slot and outside, and has the size to do both. And he comes in here as a very smart football player that will be on the field this year with the Broncos. Torrey Horton would have been a day 2 pick in this draft if it weren't for an injury in October that sidelined him the rest of the season. But get this, in his final 2 seasons of being healthy at CSU, he racked up 167 catches for nearly 2,300 yards and 16 touchdowns. Imagine what he could do with Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton surrounding him, Evan Ingram on the field, and Marvin Mims as well. He is a perfect fit for the Broncos and also a great receiver. Many believe the Broncos needed to address the receiver position with a high pick in this draft, not Sean Payton. He believes he can take guys later in the draft and turn them into great players. That's how he views Torrey Horton. The Broncos now have 2 6th-round picks remaining, and the one that they got from Tennessee in that trade up in the 2nd round, they're going to use on running back Jaden Blue out of Texas, and Jaden Blue is a home run hitter. The Broncos draft 2 running backs in this draft, and they're both big-time playmakers, very explosive, and home run hitters. Jaden Blue is a little bit smaller, so that's why he falls in this draft, but Sean Payton adds more juice to this offense with Blue. And finally, to round out the draft with the Broncos' final pick in the draft, it's still a 6th-round pick. They're going down under. They're drafting James Burnip, punter from Alabama and formerly Australia. That's right, the Broncos get an Aussie punter with this pick at 6'6", 236 pounds. Burnip can crush the ball with his leg, but his accuracy is also very impressive. Last year at Alabama, he held returners to 1 yard per return on average of his punts. That is insane. 19 of his 20 punts landed inside the 20-yard line. This guy not only has a cannon for a leg, but he also has the ability to put the ball where he wants, and that's something that really impresses Sean Payton. And the Broncos draft a punter with their final pick. So Broncos go special teams, they go defense, and they load up on weapons for Bo Nix in the offense by going 2 home run hitters at running back. They get a tight end that Bo's familiar with, and they get a Colorado kid in Torrey Horton. That's going to do it for this mock draft. We'll see if it comes true. And you can stay tuned to DNVR Sports for all of your Broncos-focused draft coverage over the next week, where we're going to be giving you everything. So subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned to all the DNVR Broncos draft coverage.